What's up, everyone? This is the Voices in Hyperspace, a podcast where friends get together and talk about all things sci-fi. And today we're talking about Star Trek Starfleet Academy episode 6.
It's Come Let's Away. And before we get into the episode, I wanted to take a moment and do, I guess, a proper introduction of PJ. So PJ's recently joined the crew and is on our mission here at Voices in Hyperspace. And I wanted to take a moment so we can learn a little bit more about PJ. So how's it going, PJ?
Hey, thank you for letting me join your podcast. I've been a Star Trek fan for years. I've been, since my grandpa introduced me to The Next Generation, we used to sit and watch it all the time. It was great. And then I just got into all the other ones. Deep Space Nine, I followed that one. Voyager, even Enterprise, which is everyone's least favorite, I think. There's some diehards out there that love it, but it was a rough one. But I was excited to see the return of Trek. With Discovery and even Prodigy and Picard, and I like where we're going with this. I just hope they start making more movies. That would be great too.
I don't know. I'm a little 50-50 on the movies because I feel like they literally had like two good movies, which was The Wrath of Khan and First Contact. The rest of them, no. Yeah, First Contact. The rest of them are meh, you know.
I love The Voyage Home.
It's cool. But, you know, a lot of those movies have like some really good scenes. It's like, if they took all the good parts of all the movies and made movies out of that would be cool.
The whales. The whales didn't get you, did they?
No. You know, after they go back in time, I forget that movie is even about whales. I'm like, what are they doing? Oh yeah, that's right.
The Voyage Home has like inspired so many of the newer episodes, like when Kirk and I forgot was it the what my brain started working? I need my brain to work. Strange New Worlds. They went back in time, and the Bell riots that kind of felt like it had that same inspiration.
You know, they've done that quite a few times because they did it in Voyager as well. TNG is the oddball out because they went back to like the 1800s, but like Voyager, they went back to the 90s. Deep Space Nine, they went back to the 90s. Was it the Voyage Home? They went back to the 80s, you know.
Enterprise went back to like the 50s or 60s or something.
Yeah, that was a weird episode to me. It's like Vulcans have been living on Earth for a long time, and they just been dealing with bigoted country folks. You know.
My favorite one has got to be Lower Decks. That was hilarious.
Where... Say that again.
Okay, because they go back in Star Trek time.
Yeah,
they don't go back, and they're like being geeks about it.
Yeah,
just so much fun. Is that a Strange New World episode or?
Yeah. It was both. It was a crossover. So they did.
I think that was Strange New Worlds. Yeah.
It was Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks. On Lower Decks, the thing happened, and then Strange New Worlds is where they resolved it, but they have their story. So,
yeah. I think they're live action, so it was Strange New World.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so let's jump into this one. Yes. All right, so to get into this episode, on their inaugural training mission, the cadets board a derelict ship, the Miyazaki, and they're running a routine salvage drill. And there's a competition to see who can activate the ship's life support and then get the computer back online, because then that helps them later get the core going. So while they're on the ship gets attacked and boarded by the terrifying pirates known as the Furies. These Furies take the cadets hostage and are threatening to eat them unless they receive gold press latinum or latinum. Um, now, the crew is overwhelmed. Morale collapses. Nala, the chancellor, realizes that, you know, the normal things won't win today. She makes her and Starfleet makes what looks like a desperate move. They strike a deal with the notorious pirate Nus Baraka. Things start to get really murky because while the cadets are held hostage, Nus is up to something, and Aki can tell, but she doesn't quite know what it is yet. This episode is the darkest of this series so far. I've seen a lot of people doing commentary on it, and they absolutely love it. I want to know, how do y'all feel about it before we jump into all the details?
I think it's very like this is what like life or death. It's a life or death thing, and it was really cool to actually, after all the levity and like comedic things that happened in previous episodes, to see this like hardcore like trek happening.
Yeah.
Like they're on an away mission, and then this situation happens, almost like what happened in parts of the first episode. And this is the first time it's coming back around, where there's some desperation going on.
Yeah. What you think, Mel?
I like to get back to. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mel.
No, go ahead, Sam. Go ahead, Sunday.
I like to get back to like some really action packed. It kind of feels like a Star Trek movie vibe. Though I do love all of Star Trek. A lot of it, like the lower decks and things, takes a very comedic and softer tone. Um, and people dying in this episode, y'all. Spoiler alert, but it's going down.
Yeah.
And ain't nobody safe. So that is something that I've really started to enjoy. What I'm really liking about a lot of our current content when we have television shows is that series are no longer, bringing on a brand new character for one episode to have them be the person who dies. Main characters
Okay.
can die too. So I know what you're saying, Facebook. We know, for lack of spoiler, we're likely to lose main characters in this show.
Yeah. Okay. They did that. You know what? They did get around that. This they did get around it.
It was a very
Go ahead.
stark difference from some of the more fun, lighthearted stuff. Even though, like, last episode, it wasn't as serious, but it wasn't. Maybe it was lighthearted, but maybe it was like it tugged at your emotions more. This was an action.
Yeah.
This was very much an action episode, and this is very normal Star Trek. Sometimes you have lighthearted, goofy camp, and sometimes you have something super serious, and this was the super serious action. You didn't even get Caleb acting goofy too
Right.
much. He had like scene, he told like maybe two or three jokes the whole episode.
Yeah.
We even started with something kind of serious that wasn't on that level. It was more emotional and personal, and I'm so glad that scene became important to the story. I
Yeah.
absolutely hate it when they put sex scenes in a show or a movie just because. It's like, we have to know that these people are attracted to each other because they're having sex. I'm like, no. But we saw that in Babylon too, where like a telepath is having sex and it's actually important to what's going on in the story. We're actually seeing sex for a reason other than itself.
Yeah. And thank you for that message, Sunday. It's the Venari Raw Pirates. I don't know. Like, as soon as I press play, my brain just emptied out. So and yeah, Mel, you're making a really good point. This whole thing opens up with a sex scene, but they're not doing it for the sake of sex. It's funny because the other examples that I was thinking of are The Expanse. In the first episode, there is a 0G sex scene, literally for no reason. This one, there's a reason why you get to see. Well, you're to
It's
assume.
PG-13.
Yeah, it's PG-13. You're to assume that they're naked. Yada yada yada. There's a reason why, and you hear exactly what the reason is, which is the telepath. She says, "This is my safe space," and she's basically saying, "I feel safe with you, Tarima." She's telling Caleb like, "I feel safe with you. Like, here's my safe space. I feel safe with you. I want to share this with you, right?" And they're doing all the sex talk, but then she accidentally pushes a little bit too far and she touches Caleb's mind, and she gets to see all of the trauma that he's been keeping in, and he hasn't shared any of that with
let me
anybody.
interrupt you, babe. Let me interrupt you because you're kind of being vague on how this went down. So, for the people in the back, while they are having pillow talk in the bed before, during, and after sex, they're talking explicitly about the unique ways that different alien species have sex. And I think it was a gross, like, overstepping of boundaries here for Tarima to be sharing her experience with a different race, and how, weird and unusual that tradition was with this other species that like douses you in milk and has like a tambourine party with her in-laws, or they not even in-laws, but just like his, I don't know, family. Like, y'all not even married and these people are in here, we're naked. But it was like a funny haha thing that they were doing, and then she starts entering, or like welcoming, Merrick into her mind. And it was a beautiful scene, and it was very nice that she wanted him to experience this comforting and safe place, and wanted to make him feel, welcome and cared for and all the things, because in the society that I come from, men don't have those kinds of spaces. They don't have that tenderness and that softness. They don't have that, you know, gentle place to land most of the time. And so I thought that that was just a wonderful thing to offer to him, until his mind was being a little overactive, and a piece of his childhood was on the mental plane that they were on together. And as Tarima is reaching out to see, like, oh, what is this, he's trying to stop her because he already know, oh no, that's my trauma. Ah, and she took a hold of it and went onto a whirlwind of emotions and experiences that he had when he was ripped away from his mother, that got like this whole show cracking. And he was not okay with randomly sharing his childhood trauma with her. Yeah, and then they fell out. It was great.
That was the interesting part of that whole scene was at the end when he felt violated because he wasn't expecting that. But then his first initial response is to lash out at her and like the your whole Betazoid thing, and she's like my thing. Like it's like you had he had to stop what he was saying by put his foot in his mouth because she was like, I can't just turn it off. That's who I am. That's my species. And he was being a little bit of a humanist. Like not everybody is human, guy. We just had this whole thing with the Cleons a couple episodes ago, and you're like you can't just turn. Why don't you just turn it off? Like why does she have to turn it off? She was having a moment with you, and your emotions showed her your deepest thoughts, and you shared them with her. That was actually a beautiful thing that she saw your trauma, but at the same time you're like, well, I didn't want to show you that. Well, that's not really your choice, that was your mind's choice.
I like that
It's
point
subconscious
because
to me.
I like that point because she okay, you don't have a choice of sharing what you can't hide. He's not saying anything about his trauma, but it's visible, and she can see it. And it's not her fault. She can see it, and she can just see it. But he's mad that she can see it, and it's his fault that nobody really knows that part about him. Yeah, so I thought that was kind of a cool explanation there. And I apologize, Mel. What were you saying?
Oh, it was I forgot what I was saying, but also what I also wanted to say was that was part of why I guess they were talking about sex with other species, and maybe why she felt like she needed to tell him about what sex is like with a different species, because she isn't human. She's sleeping with someone who is human, and he might not quite get the whole my mind is going to meld with yours. And he did not. And instead of talking about what her mind actually does, she decided to talk about some other alien. So they both were
Mm-hmm.
hide themselves from each other while at the same time trying to open up to each other,
Yeah.
like
And
really people do.
yeah. And we have to remember these are younger people. They're not fully adjusted. They have no experience. They're not high school kids, y'all. Let's adjust. They are college
They're college.
age. And I know for some of us that doesn't mean too much difference, but um in the world the experience makes a difference because they're, you know, they're pretty good at what they do learning wise, but they still have a lot of life experience that they need. That's why a lot of it comes across as 90210 in space, because kids
Mm.
are like that.
Well, and a lot of I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, like, the reference, and we got to move on from this sex scene. The reference, the reference of like the family being there and the milk and all that stuff, that reminded me of Defiance. Um, there's that alien family that bathes together, and it's just really weird. That's what it reminded me of, and I wonder if they're trying to say like, hey, them weird aliens are in this future too. You know.
I'll say
Yeah.
we did spend a lot of time on this, but I did want to point out that later on, there's a conversation with Jaden where
Oh,
Jaden realizes they slept together because of his mental connection. So I wonder if that's a thing. If you have sex with the Beta Z, you guys have a mind connection. Because remember, if you watched Next Generation, Troy and Riker had a mind connection. She
yeah.
could talk to him through his thoughts.
Yeah, they had a really deep relationship. They've broken up and then like ended back up together. So, that was a '90s thing too, like telepath sex. You know, the X-Men and all that stuff. That's a huge '90s trope, I guess. Babylon 5, all that. All right, so what the episode is actually about. Um, so the schools, the War College and Starfleet Academy, they get this assignment. They're going to go to the Miyazaki, which is a derelict ship. It's in a ship graveyard. So like the depiction of it is there's a lot of debris and the ship is not like, I don't know, oriented upright. It's just kind of floating in space. And they're going to use this as a perfect teaching ground. They got to get on the ship. They have to restore power, restore life support, and then get the computer online. Um, the the War College chancellor, he's talking about how, like, you know, we're going to do it this way. These people are going to be supported. Some are going to be on the Miyazaki. Some are going to be on the Athena. So we're having teams together. And we're going to learn how to support. He actually gives a really good speech about like depending on the people that you're around to achieve a goal, right? And so they have kind of a lighthearted competition going on. Like, you look, only 60, like, what did they say? In 5 years, no team has scored above a 60%. And
Mhm.
and that's just to motivate them. But I'm also like, what is the score criteria? I'm not sure. Maybe how fast they were, because when Caleb and his team beamed on, he basically started the power almost immediately. And I guess there was a bet between Laura Thok and what's his name? Love?
Toma.
Yeah, Toma. They had a bet that the cadets won't be successful or whatever, like whether they be successful or not. And Caleb just he hacks into the power and gets that started like almost immediately, and points on his side. This is, I want to say this about this part. This is where I was thinking like, oh, they're about to go full Star Trek, like they're about to psychobabble this thing back to life. Not psycho. They're about to techno babble this thing back to life, right? You got your engineers, your science officers, you got people who are good with tech and all of that stuff. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, Caleb is definitely an engineer. Caleb's an engineer. Sam, what do you think? Science officer?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Genesis, of course, is command. She's a captain, and so is Ravik. Not Ravik.
Darum.
There we go.
Darum.
Darum. They're both in command. So she's the captain. He's number one. It's
Did we
kind of
discuss Jaden? What did we say that Jaden is?
Jaden is a medical officer.
He's medical, yeah.
Yeah,
medical.
He's clearly medical.
Heard.
Future doctor.
What do you think Kyle is? Kyle seems to throw himself into danger. Is he security?
Kyle is Marine. He's in the military college.
Yeah,
He's
so,
definitely future security chief.
yeah. So they're all kind of like playing their roles, even though nobody's told them like what they're supposed to do, and I think that's kind of cool. So pretty much almost immediately after they're on the station, almost immediately after they're on the ship, it gets boarded and it's attacked by these pirates called the Furies. I'm gonna tell you, I don't like that name. It sounds like if this
So
is
simple.
It's simple, but it's also is like it's like in the 80s when a gang calls themselves the Dragons. It's like
That's funny.
Yeah.
The Furies remind me of one of the alien species that was on Voyager, who had like the deformed faces and stuff, and they were always in pain and things. And it took what's my captain's name? Hello.
Janeway.
Janeway. Thank you. And I think y'all said that. So it took Janeway to realize that, like, oh, they have a problem. Let me help them solve their problem, and then they will stop trying to, harm and take from us. And it's one of the things that I really love about Star Trek is that that's how they're going about solving their problems and not trying to financially motivate their way through problems or, power and force their way through their problems, which is one of the things that I have a serious issue with this episode, and it's coming up here shortly when we're talking about how the Fury, was holding us hostage, and like, what? We're just complying with demands? Who does that?
Yeah, hold on.
They also-
We'll get there because a couple of things happen. One, like the kids get taken hostage, and I don't know, as an audience member, I'm like, oh shoot, they really got guns and stuff trained on them. And almost immediately, they, what is it? Oh God, what's his name? Tomov. Tomov signals Bavi, and they start having a kung fu fighting session. The entire all of the cadets, they are fighting, punch people, kicking people, and they get away. But this also shows their inexperience. They fight, but they don't know how to cover their tracks. They don't know how to help each other. And so,
well, it's two different schools. Remember, it's the Starfleet Academy and the War College, and they don't really work together that often.
Yep.
So
they don't work together, and they don't have like that tactical mind of like how to make sure everyone is safe out of this situation, right?
Jaden didn't throw a single punch. I was disgusted.
I
he's a lover, not a fighter.
I didn't see Jaden in the fight scene at all. Like, maybe I have to watch it again. I didn't see him at all, but I saw Bavi like moving around real good. I saw Caleb over there thinking he's extra strong, getting punched in the face. Um,
And Jaden's love interest, he was just like been tackled down and was like punching him on the back. He looked like a little kid, like pow, 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 dad. I said, what you trying
yeah,
to do? You gotta fight for real.
yeah. So they escape into the bridge and they lock the doors, but the Furies are gonna break in. But then we find out Kyle got like severely wounded. The Sam. This is where we also get to see Sam is susceptible to damage and stuff like that. There's a lot of really interesting things that this show is revealing to us without like blatantly spelling it out for you. Yes, Jaden didn't fight. He didn't throw a punch. He's not a warrior Klingon, not like that. He's a medical officer. He's a medical student. He's in med school.
He's in school.
He's in med school. He's tired. Okay, look. And they have to figure out how to get the computer back online. This is kind of where I get a little. I'm like, I don't know, because when the computer does come online, it's kind of having deja vu. It's like, oh, my crew is dying, and it's recounting like the crew actually dying with what respiratory and blood pressure and all that stuff dropping. And they're like, no, we're the new crew, kind of, sort of. And so Sam sticks her hand into like the console and communicates with the computer. This is her using her special powers. And this is what I like about this show. It's basically X-Men in space. People have special powers. They have mutant powers, and they're using them. And it's not just something that you hear about. It's them actually doing it.
The computer coming on the way it did reminded me of a trauma response. Like, that's what your brain does when it's triggered by a trauma. It's still reliving it, trying to fix what happened.
Yes.
And Sam has to get it to go past that. So they I thought it was they used the comic book to do that.
Yes, the comic book was such an awesome addition because, of course, college age kids are coming right out of high school and they're bringing along with them all of their comic books and, their video games and all of those things. And we may see those things as or at one time, those things were sought after as childish. But now that those children are adults, we're coming up with this amazing content in the movies and in the games that we have in your, video game that went from your bedroom, hidden in the basement, is now the central theme in people's living rooms. Like, you got to have the biggest TV in order to get the best graphics on whatever game it is that you're playing, right? And I think that's wonderful. But when they were having the conversation about the Miyazaki, is that the name of the ship?
Miyazaki.
The Miyazaki.
Yep.
You had
Bobby.
Forgive me for Bobby. Thank you. Talking about how awesome the comics were.
Oh yeah.
How it was the influence and the encouragement, of people to join Starfleet. And
Caleb.
what's our boy's name?
Caleb
was like, that is. Oh, I lost the word.
That's propaganda to get, like, was it gullible kids to to join Starfleet?
Right. And they're both absolutely right. That is so true. On both sides, two things can be true at the same time, but whether it's propaganda or really good reenacting of actual history, it was so useful in getting the computer caught up to date with what is presently happening so that they would be able, the ship would help them save themselves right now instead of being stuck 125 years ago.
Yeah, and I will say that's a really good nod to the fact that there are a bunch of comics out there of Star Trek shows. Like, there's a Voyager comic book, there's an original series comic book, there were tie-in comic books for the more recent J.J. Abrams movies, and the art that they used in the Miyazaki one was very similar to the artwork used. I would say maybe it may be the same artist that made the comic book for the show. So I thought that
Okay.
was really neat too.
Yeah. Um,
Mhm.
I like that Bobby just keeps his comics with him. He is a true collector. Uh, and
Yeah, let's go.
I like how like in real life people get into science for so many different reasons. A lot of people get into it because they saw it on TV. They saw that Tony Stark had multiple degrees. They saw that Reed Richards uh figured out some stuff. You know, it's like you see the depiction in media and you're like, I want to aspire to that. And it's very similar to people who saw Carl Sagan. Like that's Neil deGrasse Tyson anyway. He saw Carl Sagan, is like, I want to be a Carl Sagan. And he met him. And then he took over his show. Well, not took over his show. He redid his show on Netflix. So it's kind of cool. And it's like in the 80s when we had like the different astronauts that were featured on Star Trek, people were like, "Oh shoot, that's real. I can do that." And I
Well,
think that they're just kind of giving a nice little tip of the hat to like your influences can lead to real life solutions.
mm-hmm. Then Nichelle Nichols did a program for Black girls to get into STEM, and one of our first Black female to Mia Johnson, what's her last name?
I think it is Johnson.
She's yeah, she my son is doing a report on him this month, but
Nice.
on her this one, and like she went through that program and became an actual astronaut, and the name Miyazaki, I was on my phone, because the name Miyazaki is triggering something in my brain. Like Miyazaki is important, like, and especially when it comes to comics, because he's there's a Miyazaki who wrote a manga,
Yes.
and I'm drawing a blank.
Hayao Miyazaki did all those really cool movies. Spirited
Right.
Away, Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
all of,
I thought that was too obvious.
I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Well, I don't know, but I don't know how common the name Miyazaki is. That's what I immediately thought of. So
I looked it up, and I think that's the only Miyazaki that can. But yeah,
cool.
for there to be a comic and a end of a comic having to do with that ship, like, and it being named after Miyazaki, that was really cool. I thought.
So the way that this situation is being dealt with by the chancellors, it's not just Aki and Revik doing it. They got Starfleet Command coming in. So they got Admiral Vance holographing himself in, and they're like, this is some serious shit. We need to figure out how to fix it immediately. And they're talking about all the different problems. They can't find the ship that the Furies are from. Flurries. They can't find the ship that the Furies are from. And so that's a big problem. They can't beam the kids out because there is a transporter block. So that's a big problem. Of course, the Furies are like, we're going to eat the kids. So that's a big problem. And they're like, what do we do? And so they talk to Ake and they're like, well, News Baraka defeated the Furies before, and he might know something that we don't. So maybe we can negotiate with him. And this is where Sunday is pissed off because they immediately like, yeah, we're gonna give them the Latinum. Like we're gonna cooperate. We're gonna get the kids out. And on the one hand, I don't blame them because these are not officers. These people are not in Starfleet. These are other people's kids. They're other people's children that they set off, and they're not supposed to be killed on missions yet. Even though there was a precedent set in the Next Generation where the Starfleet Academy kids blew themselves up doing a special flight formation, and
Well, for that.
Wesley Crusher. Yeah, they weren't supposed to do that, but they did kill some folks. And Wesley Crusher lied. He's a liar. No. No. He only lied for a little bit.
Yeah. But yes, I am upset over the agreement to pay off the demands of a terrorist, because I feel like where we are now, we in the United States, we don't negotiate with terrorists because we know how like untrustworthy we are. If we get what we want, we're not giving you what you want. Like, so we can't trust nobody else to do something that we know we wouldn't do either. And oh man, they didn't like go through any of the traditional Starfleet options of making the enemy think that they're getting this one thing and then we're gonna like banana in the tailpipe them or nothing. It was like, no, y'all really just giving them whatever they want. And you didn't call the Venari raw and think
Yeah.
this fool is gonna like do anything but take advantage of us. Man, look here. It went real bad, y'all. Real bad.
And like after
But
the last time they ran into him, it's like as soon as he shows up, shouldn't he be in custody? And his the negotiation be like, if you want less of a sentence, you gonna give us what we want.
Right.
Because we got you.
Yeah. Didn't go as
Unless
planned.
he, which I
and
doubt.
Admiral Vance did say that even if they paid the Furies were known to kill the hostages anyway, so they were stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what I like about the writing. They really did put Starfleet in an impossible situation. Like, all right. I got a Kobayashi Maru.
Mhm.
And this is in contrast to Discovery. Discovery, everything was like super serious and dramatic. Like, if we don't save these people, we're gonna destroy the galaxy. And then it's like they figure it out by like, oh, instead of going left, let's go right. You know what I mean? They didn't live up to the drama. This episode lives up to the drama because they put those kids in a bad situation and they literally can't get out. They cannot get out. It's claustrophobic. Um and okay, let's talk a little bit about all of the things that are going on here. First of all, bravo, Paul Giamatti. I wasn't so sure that I was sold on Noose Baraka, but this episode, bro is a villain. And he's touching on super villain. He's touching on super villain status with what he pulled off.
He's
Yeah.
given off classic Trek villain.
Yes. Yep.
And it was so narcissistic for him to, like you said earlier, put his thumb in her wound
Yeah.
and just twist, like just squeeze.
So
Bravo to her. I was on the level of actual tears myself when Baraka had her in the room. And whenever we see the Chancellor having any kind of serious conversation, she got her shoes off. She is curled up in a ball on the couch.
or just laying
Her
planked down. She barely wants to be awake.
She's feeling like I'd be surprised she have on a uniform at all. But in this episode, she is upright and she is sitting strong in her chair, and Baraka is literally trying to emotionally tear her down, bringing up her son and the how the Venari Raw really emulate her for being able to sacrifice her son to save her own crew. And oh my God, he was really touching some chords. And when he turned his back on her, you could see like the amazing acting that she was doing, where it was showing that it was affecting her, but she was not going to allow him to get her to the point to like actually show any, deep or good emotion. She wasn't gonna cry. You're not gonna see me cry.
Also, she was on a mission. She was like she let Vance do all the talking, and Vance was like, "Look, we're gonna cooperate with you, but if I had my way, I would beat the holy hell out of you." And he bucked back up. He was like, "Okay, name the place." See, this is where you go wrong being the good guy. You never get what you want. I'm the bad guy. I get exactly what I want. And that was kind of like a teaser for what he was doing too. It's nuance in the writing, and it's great. But
She she showed. Oh, sorry.
oh, I was just gonna say she stayed quiet because she wasn't trying to control anything. She's trying to learn things. So she stayed quiet during that exchange, and she was just looking at him like, "What you hiding, boy? What you up to?" And she sniffed it out. She sniffed it out. She's like, "There's something else going on here," you know.
Yeah. Well, she showed. This was a great example of gray rocking, a technique you use against narcissists, where you don't show emotion because you know they want to. They are trying to get emotion. They're trying to get a reaction out of you.
Mm.
Also, it's a stark difference between how she acted with Caleb, where she had the same us not exactly, but she had to negotiate with Caleb for what needed to be done. And doing that with him, like she can be relaxed, she can be loving, she can be gentle with Caleb because that's what he needed. Caleb wasn't trying to get over on her. Caleb's trying to get away from her.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas we know he what's his name is going to most definitely going to try to get over. He is a sociopath, and doing all the things that putting her boots on, that was so awesome. Whereas like he's coming, and they show her walking down the hall. They show just her feet. She's got on her boots. She's standing up straight. She's not.
she's
like,
ready to go to work. She's at war.
For this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so they get the latinum and all of that stuff, but Baraka finally reveals his demands, which is he wants Starfleet to, oh gosh, what's the name of the place? He wants Starfleet to stop supplying dilithium. He wants them to stop supplying dilithium to this place because it ruined his business. He wasn't making money. That's kind of the cover. They when they're by themselves, when this is Admiral Vance, Aki, and Ravik, they're like, "What's the nearest starship?" It's an Intrepid class that's at this starbase that's like, really close. We're they want to call them in for support, so when they do, when they're able to disrupt the Furies, they can have like support. And they're like, "Well, what is this ship doing there?" The ship is there to support the station because the station is holding classified technology, like stuff that Starfleet's working on. Ain't nobody supposed to know about. They're like, it's no big deal. Nobody knows about it. We'll be fine. Here's our plan. We're gonna disrupt the Star Fury's disruptor. We're gonna beam these people out. We're gonna shock them, and it's gonna be great. So, they have this plan. Right? Okay, go. Nothing goes according to plan. Nothing goes according to plan. The kids that are I keep saying the kids. The cadets that are trapped on the Miyazaki on the bridge, they have to somehow restart the singularity drive. Which, okay, Star Trek fans, have you clocked this at all? So the singularity drive is their alternative for using dilithium. The Romulans used to use singularity drives, but Starfleet never did. So they developed a prototype, which is the Miyazaki, and they messed it up.
I was going to ask, does anybody remember any of the other Treks that had, because it sounds familiar, but I don't know if they were like experimenting with it in any of the other Treks, or was this something that happened after their time?
I think it was after, because the ship was like 100. It was something I think they came up with after the burn.
Yeah.
Because they said it was like around 100 years old, and the burn happened around 100 years. So, and it sounds similar to the star.
It sounds like the protostar.
The protostar.
Yeah.
It sounds like it works similar to the protostar, but not a protostar. So maybe they use what they learned from the protostar to have that. And considering the protostar worked, why did they try to do that? But then I guess because they would have to do the whole tiny star and an engine thing.
Yeah. Something. Yeah. It sounds familiar, but they said this is their prototype. And
yeah, singularity would probably be easier to do because it's a wormhole.
Yeah.
and we've already seen artificial wormholes, but we in Star Trek we don't necessarily have artificial wormholes.
No.
So no.
Because they've had other types of like engine power. They've had transwarp drive, which didn't really work very well, and then and then Voyager had that slipstream.
Yeah.
Or was that Next Generation? One of them had slipstream technology
Voyager
that didn't
had
really work that
slipstream.
well.
Voyager had slipstream until they found those warp tunnels.
Yeah.
It's funny because all of these are solutions to the same problem, which is faster than light travel, and I don't know, it's fun to think about, but also like everything other than warp breaks Star Trek.
Oh,
You know,
Discovery.
exactly the jump drive.
Discovery doesn't break.
Yeah.
They
Well,
just don't use it very often.
they don't use it very often. Well, until they couldn't, because they had a tardigrade as a slave until they figured out
that's true.
how to use the mycelium network without torturing an animal.
And then they were torturing everything else living in that that dimension that they were traveling through.
Yep.
It was their area, so that's why they couldn't do that no more.
Yeah. So what the cadets kind of have like a plan on the Athena. Tarima is gonna use her powers to connect to Caleb, because at one point during the fighting she connected to him, and she was like, there was a lot of emotion, and she was like, oh my god, I think they're gonna die. And it's one, like, again, they're young people, and so they've never experienced this before. Everybody's scared, they're heightened, so of course he thinks he's gonna die, and so of course she thinks he's gonna die, because she can feel that. They're going to use her powers to connect to Caleb and then send messages. With Caleb, they're telling him, like, you got to get the drive online. Remember, the Furies are still trying to get into the bridge to kill them. All of that's going on. When Tarima does connect with Caleb, she explains, like, okay, we're going to do something. We figured out how to disrupt the Furies. We're also looking for them. When you're able to activate the drive, I need you to say out loud, tiny fireflies. And he's like, what? And she's like, no, for real. Listen to me. It means something. Tell this to Bobby. Okay. All right. They get the computer together. He Geordi LaForges his way to the computer. I'm sorry, because he's that kind of an engineer. He Geordi LaForges his way to getting the Singularity drive online, and once he does, he turns to Bobby. He goes, "Bobby, does tiny fireflies mean anything to you?" And he goes, "It does."
Yep.
So, he got the message. Now, this is the thing that got me. This was the twist. And I know we're going a little bit long, but there's a lot to talk about this episode. There's the twist. On the Athena, they found where the Furies were. They found them, and they've locked onto the ship. But they got a message that says they bought it. And this is right after that Intrepid class ship shows up. So they have 2 Starfleet ships there. They send a message, and then it's not the Furies that come forward, but it's the Venari Rawls mega ship shows up and starts blasting everybody. The first thing they do is they shoot the Intrepid ship. It gets a direct hit. They throw the power offline. The Athena is there, and they're like, oh shoot, we've been played. This whole time we thought that we were dealing with the Furies, and we had to, make a deal with the devil. And it turns out News Baraka set this whole thing up. I'm gonna explain in a second, but the Venari Raw ship, it blasts the Athena some, and then it takes off. Where does it go? It goes to that space station that is now not being protected by anybody. So that's happening. On the Miyazaki, they finally start the drive, but Tarima, she removes her inhibitor and she uses her powers. As she's doing it, she draws Caleb into their safe space. And this I thought was poetic because she was explaining this safe space was not from anybody, it was from me because she's afraid of her powers. Can one of you describe to me what her powers are?
She has
Yeah.
sonic power.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's like, what's the one on X-Men? Or maybe it was in Beach. Yeah. And when she screamed it, bust all your shit. And I love how her brother came to her defense, against, like, for her asking permission to use her connection to Caleb to go and deliver messages and help them. And we find out that their dad's hearing loss comes from her throwing a tantrum as a child.
Yep. As a child,
Mhm.
Yep.
like she was a little baby, and she has these superpowers. But when she uses her powers, it basically explodes the heads of the Furies. That part is cool, but it's also kind of funny. It's kind of like Avengers about how the Chitauri, if you blow up their one ship, it kills all of them. That's kind of what they did here.
Yeah.
It gets
I
them
thought
out of the
that
trouble.
Yeah. I thought that interesting fact about their DNA. They're basically humans who have been altered, but they're altered with
With
like
bat.
alien bat
Yeah.
DNA. So they were sensitive to sound. So their eardrums were probably a lot of their brain is probably quite sensitive to sound. So her doing that just bust a lot of stuff. And I like how they connected that, how they threw that in there. I also saw where they were kind of phasing, kind of like the Suliban from Enterprise.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, is
That's
that
what I was thinking.
they doing some timey stuff? And is
Yeah.
the timey stuff why they're genetically altered? Because that's what they were doing to the Zulaban. The Zulaban were normal little alien people who were just they look weird, and all those like weird stuff that they were doing, like squishing themselves and transforming and phasing and all that stuff. Those were genetic alterations. But it looks like someone else tried to do it again, or this could have been what they were doing before they perfected what they were doing to the Zulaban, because timey-wimey stuff.
I mean, 800 years makes a hell of a difference. And so there's a lot going on. This is a action-packed episode, but in the end, Starfleet loses. In that scene where the Furies break in and they're about to shoot and kill the kids, Bobby places himself directly in the path and he gets shot in the chest point blank, like a big old hole.
And his whole guy flew out.
Yeah.
Shit was rough.
Yeah. Saving Kyle.
Yeah.
But
his buddy.
Yeah. So when Tarima explodes everybody's head, he's already down and he's gone. And it's I think Sam gets hit at this point too. So everyone is experiencing.
Did we talk about how they had pushed the oh golly, what was his name? I said it, the Tomov out the airlock?
We didn't. No, we didn't talk about what they did. We said he did go out the airlock, but
oh, okay, just making sure because we lost our teacher and that was fluffed up.
Yeah.
And I really liked the reaction of the cadet on the bridge who really could not take it. Like, yo, our teacher is dead, and she had to be.
Yeah, she had to be excused. Like, you need to go.
Yeah. I like how they sent her
out of here. Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
That was the
it was real. It was like this is, you guys are at school and not all the students will be able to stomach this kind of intense situation that's going on. Some of them are going to fold, and she immediately and Laura immediately said, take her to the medical. She needs to go to the medical right now because she's not going to be able to handle this.
Yep.
She's still a kid.
Yep. Yep. She folded, and it made me think, like, you have to realize, like, these people are also, while they're young, they're different ages. So there's probably like some 16-year-old geniuses that are in Starfleet Academy, and there's some like 25-year-old geniuses that are in Starfleet Academy. So like you're academically strong, but when it comes to like again real life experience, some stuff is gonna happen. It's gonna rock your world, and Starfleet's trying to figure out like which one of y'all gonna hold on because people be flying into temporal anomalies and uh intergalactic wars and the Borg. You know what I mean? Wild stuff. So,
And
but
the human, she was human,
mm-hmm,
and after the burn, Earth kind of closed themselves in.
yep,
So they didn't really experience the devastation of the burn that other people did outside of it, where you have people like Caleb and um um our Klingon doctor
Jaden,
who
Jaden,
Jaden, yeah, and who actually experienced the devastation of living in that a dystopian world. Like him seeing somebody die was probably something he'd seen before, or probably doesn't hurt as much as losing his mom the way he did. But
it was his
Jaden,
brother. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, I got you. Sorry.
Jaden, who's grown up to be, who's raised to be a warrior, like he kind of understands death is going to happen during fights. It's probably hurt because he doesn't like to see people get hurt. I understand, but he's going to be more used to it than someone who's been closed off on Earth, where we have replicators and we don't have to fight each other and we good. Just stay away.
Yeah. So yeah, Starfleet loses. Aki was wrong. Admiral Vance was wrong. Revik was wrong. Sam was damaged. Oh, we'll talk about her in a second. But not Caleb. Kyle was hurt. Caleb was stunned. I think Jaden was stunned. Bavi is dead. I'm laughing because it's like he was kind of like the most like bold one there, and he gave his life for Starfleet. That should be an honorary commission, right? I think.
Yeah, for sure. Him and Sama definitely sacrificed themselves to save their crewmates.
Yeah. And earlier, I can't remember exactly how the scene went, but it was a conversation with Bavi and Kyle where Kyle quoted Spock, and that should have
Yes.
been the indication, like, oh, so he's about to die.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, he said the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Yep.
Some wise Starfleet officer once said.
Yep. Over
Right
a
before he
1,000
died.
years ago, right before he got himself cooked in the warp core.
But he quotes the one time where he alters it before he dies, where he says the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, except for the time when it's the needs of the one.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yep.
I'm like, that's what Spock died, and then he ends up dying. Like,
Yep.
no.
Yep. So not only did we have a darker episode, but the ending was not a happy ending. We got injured students. We have completely demoralized both of the chancellors, and Starfleet is activated. They're like, look, Noose Baraka is enemy number one. Don't nobody sleep until I get his head. And I'm just like, oh shoot, this is taking a turn.
There's also Noose Baraka also gave this ominous statement to Ake, where he said, "And the worst is yet to come because I got a surprise for you." So this is going to be really interesting to see how this story concludes.
Yep.
What the surprise is.
Yep.
Like, what did he do? Is it something he stole from that space station? Is it has to do with Caleb's mother?
Right.
It could be anything. So this is going to be really interesting.
Yes, you gotta tune in. And what's great about this whole thing, it kind of helped define their relationship. Noose Baraka hates Aki. He doesn't just like dislike her or anything like this. He hates her, and it doesn't sound like it has to do with it doesn't have anything to do with Caleb. They it sounds like they've had a relationship of some sort before.
Yeah.
And that we got to figure out what that is. Also, it's helping us define Starfleet a little bit better because remember, this is after the burn. Discovery helped figure out what caused the burn. They got dilithium back so people could travel. We have to rebuild Starfleet, and Starfleet is not what it was in the 2200s, in the 22nd, 23rd century, or the 24th. What it is, it was a war-ready entity, and now they have to figure out diplomacy again while they're at war still with pirates and these rogue factions. They got a lot of work ahead of them, and it's interesting, but it's juicy interesting. It's like, what's gonna happen? I kind of like, I'm no longer worried about like, are these kids gonna graduate right? Are they gonna pass the test? It's like, no. Are these people gonna survive? Like, will Starfleet survive? Or are they about to collapse into like a revenge militaristic regime type of thing? Lots of interesting questions.
Yeah, that's the thing. In Star Trek, you see that happening sometimes in past shows. Like DS is one of the biggest examples of that. Is like they had to turn militaristic to fight off the it just jumped out of my head.
The Dominion.
Dominion. In the Dominion War, they had militaristic, and a lot of people were criticizing that turn that DS9 took when they started doing a lot of the episodes militarily.
Yeah.
It's like, well, sometimes you get pushed into that scenario when to survive you have to fight. So now the kids are starting school. They had like a bright, shiny future at the beginning, but now we might have to go into battle. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And that's why there's a war college. People keep asking, like, why is there a war college? Because they've been at war for over 100 years.
Yeah.
That's me. I'm like, why? I see it now.
Thought the situation between Ake and the pirate whose name eludes me. I'll learn it. I learned Ake's name this episode. I'll learn somebody else's name next episode. But their back and forth with each other reminded me of Spock and Khan.
Talking about Noose Baraka?
Yes, Noose Baraka. Okay. Noose. Yeah, they remind me of Kirk and Spock. Kirk and
Khan.
Khan. Yeah. The way like they're playing this chess game against each other, trying to figure out what the other's trying to do.
Yeah. And
it having so many big stakes involved with it. Because Khan was messing around with people's heads, people's lives.
Yep.
Like he was ready to just take people out just to prove a point, just like this guy's doing. Mm-hmm. And Naki just she just wants to protect people. I'm saying the wrong name.
It's all good. No, you got it. You good.
Naki just wants to protect people, and he knows that, and he's using it against her, just like Khan did with Kirk.
Yep. It's funny too. All right, another element that's in Star Trek, and it all started with Kirk. Like you said, there's chess, which I feel like that was in the original series, kind of like he would have to outmaneuver people, but in the movies, he was a poker player. He was like, we're going all or nothing. They call it cowboy diplomacy. And I feel like these people are like, the state of the galaxy is more of the Wild West than we think. And they have to turn into cowboys in order to like really solve their problems. So for people who are like, I don't know if this is the Star Trek for me, it might be turning into that. That's what the writing says to me. I could be reading it wrong, but this episode, they did in one episode what people were hoping they would do. So, yeah.
That makes perfect sense, because when Gene Roddenberry, before he did Star Trek, he did cowboy stuff. And when he pitched Star Trek, it was like the frontier of people going to go explore the wild, but it's sci-fi.
Yeah.
Wild West in space.
Yep.
Yeah, the Wild
pitched.
Before we get out of here, one last thing. Sam. I want to explain some things about Sam. Now, Sam is a photonic entity, a being. They call her the holographic student. But that kind of oversimplifies it. Sam makes me think that she's similar to like what Data is. So Data was an android that was like very faithful to being a human. He just wasn't programmed to have like human emotions, and he kind of had that pursuit of what does it mean to be human. And they used that character to explore humanity, right? I kind of feel like Sam is similar, but there's some really fun things to explore. People are like, if she's a hologram, where's her holo emitter? Her species is a photonic species. They don't have emitters. They are the emitter. She is the emitter, and she was created to be her own thing. Granted, she's like a computer and all that stuff. She can talk to computers. But that's part of like the nature of her species. You don't need a special machine to project her. She her photons are her. It's like a human being. Your cells are you. You don't need a special machine to always give you new cells. You create them yourself. That's kind of like what Sam is. And Sam can be damaged. She got shot and she got hurt. You saw her glitching at the end, and then at the very end, Jaden and the medical staff had to try to like regenerate her and stuff. I'm interested. I am interested. I'm like, I want to see this get explored a little bit more. We got a lot of info of her in the last episode, and it kind of explained her purpose, but now it's like, let's explain her. Is she
Yeah.
kind of like a robot?
I got some issues with this because in the episode where they were in the cafe area or the whatever that area is, where they had that fight between the War College
Oh yeah.
and our cadet and Starfleet, she was able to make herself where things were going through her, and she put her hand straight through the console. So is this like something that she has to actively do in the moment? And if she does, when we're in a scene like this and there's like gunfire, why haven't you turned your phase ability on? But we can chalk that up to like lack of experience, and now she didn't learn something, and maybe she'll do that next time. I'm with you, baby.
Yeah, she's
like
she's 100 days old.
About that. It made me think about the little buttons on their chest when they came on, and there was like no atmosphere or anything from them.
Yeah.
So they had these like biofields around them. Is that not like the same thing that they put up over the door that cut the Fury's arm off? Not to turn those on to add some additional protection to themselves.
Yeah, so
they have
their personal shields are plasma shields. I'm not exactly sure how that works. I'm gonna look it up, but it seems to keep in oxygen and probably blocks out like cosmic radiation, stuff like that. There's probably a measure of protection against certain types of weapons, and yeah, that the shield that went up that cut off the Fury's arm. I thought that part was so cool because then Jaden was like, "Yeah, give me that gun." I thought that was cool.
I'm a sniper, but not hand-to-hand combat, y'all. There's a difference.
Right, that's me. Games. I thought that Sam getting hurt meant that the weapons interrupted whatever flow she's got going on with the energy that she's made of.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, and even if she phased, like, she's still visible, so there's still some type of energy flow going. Plus, he was taking Noose was taking notes. Remember his name already? Noose was taking notes in the first episode when he the second episode. When in the first episode he shows up in, he's taking notes on everything. Everybody. And he did mention, "Oh, you're photonic?" So like, and because they were working together, and he knew what he was doing, he was prepared for if he was going to encounter these things that he knows Starfleet has, especially Starfleet Academy.
Yeah,
because he already attacked them. Why weren't you arrested at the door? Still don't know. But
well, they
he was.
So in the last time he was on, they did arrest him. He just had a whole escape plan where he disabled he disabled the ship and like jumped out of the not the airlock, but in the escape pod. And then this time
Yeah.
they gave him it's not clemency, they gave him 72 hours of like they gave him a 72-hour break. It's like, look, what did it we're gonna parlay.
They put a moratorium on his warrants.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That should have been the tailpipe thing that was mentioned earlier. It was like,
I think Admiral Vance did say that if they reach out to him and put a moratorium on his warrants that he had, so that they could make the deal, this plan, make the deal.
Yeah. And so they invited him. They invited the fox into the roost.
Into the hen house.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this was a great episode, y'all. Let's wrap it up.
No, yeah. Well, thank y'all very much.
Great.
I thought it was awesome. Like I said, there's a lot to talk about, but that just means that Starfleet Academy is about to take a turn. We got 4 more episodes. Yeah, we'll see what happens next. Thank y'all for joining us for this edition of Voices in Hyperspace. You can join us on our Facebook, our Instagram, our TikTok, and our YouTube. All of those at Voices in Hyperspace. Join us in the comments and keep the conversation going. I'm Legendary Black Lion. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Legendary Black Lion.
I'm Mel Asylum. You can find me at melsrebellion.com, and you can find me at anywhere with Mel's Rebellion or Mel Asylum.
Hey, y'all. This is Sunday. You can find me at a poker table.
And I'm PJ3K. You can find me at PJ3K on Instagram.
Until next time, we'll see you out there. Peace.